What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? What's up, everybody here on Instagram, everybody on YouTube? What's up? We're chopping it up. We had a dub yesterday. We talked all about it last night. Of course, we got to do it all over again. YouTube folks, what's up? Instagram folks, what's up? How's everybody doing? Sunday. How's everybody doing? How's your Sunday? Good afternoon. Good evening to some. Maybe good morning to others, depending on your time zone. How's everybody doing? What's up? Shout out to Target. Shout out to Target. Another day, another Target shirt. Day 4 of trying to get Target to sponsor me. What's up, Brendan? What's up, Ray Hawthorne? What's up, everybody over here on Instagram? How are we doing? We got that dub, and I'm feeling great. We broke it down last night, so I'm not sure if you caught it. If you missed the breakdown last night, head up to YouTube. Got the stream saved. We had a good time breaking it down with everybody in the chat. It was fun time. So today, we got to talk about roster predictions. We'll go over a little bit about the game. Obviously, it's still fresh in our minds. See what you guys think. And there was a little bit of news today, so that's good. Today that Kyle Shanahan had a press conference with some of the reporters, and they said Emmanuel Mosley should be back. You got a lot of people coming back from injuries. So Arik Armstead should be back. You got Jalen Moore coming back. So this is good news. Some of our big-time guys are starting to get healthy, and they'll be back this week. That's phenomenal news. They're still worried about Mike McGlinchey this week. He's not going to practice, but hopefully next week. And they said Colton McKivitz is going to start at right tackle. I was saying, that's one of the big things is Mike McGlinchey's knee going to hold up? And right now, they're going to let him rest it up. And they're expecting Charvarius Ward to be back next week. So that's a good sign. And Austin Mack, he got a hamstring strain. So he's going to be out this week. That's another hamstring issue that the team is dealing with. So a little bit good news, though, that most of the guys are starting to get back into shape. And Kyle Shanahan also said that this week we will have most of the starters playing. Obviously, if they're healthy starters, they're going to play. So let's go, man. When do the Niners go to Houston? The game's Thursday, so maybe Tuesday, right? Probably Tuesday is my guess. I don't know. That's a good question. What's up, Smitty over there, my man? Kinlaw, we got Grant Cohn's burner account on Instagram. Grant Cohn officially has a troll account on Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. He's on the Instagram. He's already trolling. This is going to be a fun year with this crazy account going on. Oh, my God. But, yeah, good game last night. We talked about how Alfredo Gutierrez got the game ball. That was such a cool moment. Javon Kinlaw had a great day. I feel Kinlaw's game was nice for him. He needed that confidence booster. Granted, it was against the backups, but it was against the backups, but it was just a confidence booster. I was talking to someone today, and they're like, "Oh, Kinlaw, he only played against the backups. It doesn't matter. He's still a bust." Like that game he played last night was very good for him. It was very important. He played a long time. He played all the way into the second half, and the fact that he was, coming out of that game pain-free is a big, big W for Javon Kinlaw. So it was nice to see him get out there and dominate, and he should be dominating the backup. So it was nice to see Javon Kinlaw out there doing well. So Trey, let's see. We got. Hey, Peter Parker says. So I stopped to put gas, and my daughter kept saying, "Trey, area." He's raising those girls, right? What about running backs? Who's gonna make the final roster? You know what? That's a good segue into talking about what we want to talk about today. So let's get into the running back situation, because I feel like that is one of the big question marks. And I going through this roster today, I don't know. It's tough because I don't think they're going to cut Trey Sermon. They drafted a big investment on him, a third-round pick. He has draft capital. Like, everybody's been saying they're going to cut Trey Sermon. Like, let's get into that talk first. Because last night, everybody was sitting here in the chat, and a lot of you guys were saying Trey Sermon is going to get cut. They got to cut him. I mean, Jordan Mason looked great, right? Jordan Mason looked good. Ty Davis Price continues to shine. And JaMychal Hasty looks pretty damn good out there, man. JaMychal Hasty, preseason warrior. The guy's the best pass-catching guy in preseason right now, JaMychal Hasty looking good. And what did I say? I said in the preseason, JaMychal Hasty comes in and he brings out the heat. He brings in the heat. So it's making it tough to sit here and say who's the best running back, on this team and who's going to make it. And I know Trey Sermon struggled last night. He did play hurt. Again, we talked about it last night, and I don't feel that Trey Sermon should have been playing if he was, nursing an injury. Although, you got to credit his toughness. Go out there and grit it out. But it's a preseason game. You don't need to grit it out on a preseason game. So I feel like there's not going to be any roster cuts on running back this week. I know we do have roster cuts this week. They're due Tuesday, but I don't think they're going to cut a running back. I think they're going to keep these guys. Mitchell's still hurt. Jeff Wilson's been given the excuse to, not play. He's the veteran. He's running back too right now. Shanahan likes this guy. He's loyal to Jeff Wilson Jr., and he does have trade value down the line if they have to come down to that point. And they need depth. Running back's a tough position for this team. They always get hurt. I think this week no running back gets cut. I don't think anybody gets cut. I think Trey Sermon, again, he's a slow starter, but if you look at the stats, he's got the least yards per carry out of all the running backs right now in the preseason. I don't know. I was talking to some people today, and everybody says he's slow off the line. He's got no burst. It's tough when you got an ankle injury, so they might give him the benefit of the doubt. And again, because they drafted Trey Sermon in the 3rd round, he's got a long leash, right? He kind of has a big leash to kind of prove himself. You don't want to just throw that away. That would be a big L for Shanahan and the Niners. So it's tough, man. Ty Davis-Price looks like a monster out there, just trucking people and running, stumbling over people, hurdling over guys. He's physical, man. He just runs downhill. Ty Davis-Price is unbelievable. He could be a running back 1 in this team. I think he can. And so can Jordan Mason. Again, Jordan Mason's playing the backups. But this guy he looks like that gem that Shanahan always gets in the draft. This is a guy, Jordan Mason. I've said it many times. If they cut Jordan Mason, somebody's picking him up immediately. Kyle Shanahan is picking, or not Kyle Shanahan, the Seahawks are picking him up immediately. Somebody. So, Bay Area says, use Sermon as a goal line short distance back. I mean, obviously, I think that's right now, build his confidence. If you can put him on the goal line and he gets some touchdowns, that's a good way to build his confidence because right now he's not hitting the edge as explosive as TDP and Jordan Mason. But I don't know. Do you guys think that Trey Sermon gets cut this week? I don't think it happens. I think all running backs stay on the roster. If we're talking about cuts this week, I feel like there's going to be probably a cut at wide receiver. It's tough because I think Malik Turner deserves to make this team. Special teams has been amazing, and he's been a solid contributor on the preseason offense, right? So Malik Turner makes that big play in the 4th quarter to keep that drive alive, and I think he had the peanut punch to strip the ball where Sam Womack, jumped on it early in the game, and those were big plays. Those were plays that I'm like, this guy's making the team. He made his case. He did it in training camp. He showed out. Malik Turner makes this team as a sixth wide receiver. So then who do you cut? I think Marcus Johnson might get cut this weekend or Willie Snead. Willie Snead might stay another week because he's the veteran guy. And Shanahan was throwing him out in special teams this week, to kind of see what he can do out there. Because Ray McLeod obviously is going to be the return man, but you need a backup. You need a guy that's going to give him some rest. So he was testing out some guys at return man. I don't know. I don't think Willie Snead, he's the older guy of the group of the wide receivers. I don't really see him being an effective return man, but Shanahan was giving him some chances. But Snead did have, a better game than I thought he would have. So Snead might have stayed on the roster another week, but ultimately he doesn't. I don't think he makes the 53-man roster. So just kind of like what he did with Darcus Denard and Robert Mdiche, they were veterans, right? They're not bad. You might want to keep them on the roster, or you might want to cut them and give them an opportunity to go sign somewhere. So I think Willie Snead, again, he could get cut this week because he's the veteran, and you don't necessarily think he's going to make that final 53-man roster. So he might be a casualty this week. But he did play good enough, I think, to stay on the roster this week. So if they cut him, I won't be surprised. But also I won't be surprised if he doesn't get cut. So Marcus Johnson might get cut this week as the other receiver to not make the team. But we'll see. They are going to play all their starters this week for the most part. So it'll be interesting. These guys, these backups, this is their final chance, really, if they get a chance this week to play. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Tay Martin, there's Willie Snead. Those two guys are on the team. Austin Mack has an hamstring injury. maybe he gets cut because of the injury. So Austin Mack could be a guy that gets cut. So it's kind of unfortunate for these younger guys that probably won't make the final roster because they're just going to get cut. And they hope to come back and make it on the practice squad. But I think Tay Martin, Marcus Johnson, one of those guys might get cut this week, and that's going to be one of your 5 cuts. And then that kind of brings me to the offensive line. We got some issues with the O-line, right? The backups, some of them haven't been really producing as good as we want. I think Jason Poe was a guy that really shot up, and he's been dominating. He looks good. I really like Jason Poe. He came out, and he just impressed me, undrafted gem. I think he makes the final roster, so I don't think he's at any risk to get cut. Justin Skule, man, this guy, another bad game, and it's unfortunate for Justin Skule. I think he ends up being cut this week. I think it's the end of the line for Justin Skule. ACL recovery has not went good. I think he could be a guy that gets cut this week. They do need depth, so they might actually keep some of these guys that probably get cut after this week. So they might stay on this week just because they have injuries, right? Mike McGlinchey's nursing the knee injury. They said Colton McKivitz is going to play tackle. So then that means you may not cut Jordan Mills, who I didn't think played as good as I thought he would. And I was a little upset, because I thought Jordan Mills deserved an opportunity. He got it, and he didn't play so hot. So Jordan Mills, although I think he could get cut this week, I think he stays another week because they need depth in order to survive this week. But Jalen Moore should be back this week. I don't know if he plays, but the fact that he's coming back to practice is a good sign that they'll be able to keep Jalen Moore and Colton McKivitz as those swing tackle spots. And then they can release Jordan Mills probably the final week where roster cuts are due. That's what I predict. I think Mills might live to see another week on this team. And shout out Alfredo Gutierrez. He'll probably make the practice squad. I didn't think he was going to make it to the practice squad, but man, oh man, Kyle Shanahan gave him his chance. It was really nice to see. Gave him the game ball. He was so excited. He was nervous, he said. And I think Alfredo Gutierrez is a guy that can keep on that practice squad and develop. He needs time. He's really hasn't played much, and he's still got a long way to go to learn the game. But it was a beautiful story, and it was a wholesome moment that Alfredo Gutierrez got to play in his first NFL game yesterday. Shout out to Alfredo. That was good to see. Another guy that could get cut this week, Keithan Sutherland. I think he might get cut. But again, you got to have depth out there. So they might keep him one more week. Dan Brunskill's hurt, right? He's still got the hamstring injury. So you might keep Keithan Sutherland to go throw him out there in Houston. And then after that, you get him cut. But again, if he gets cut this week, I wouldn't be surprised. He ain't making that final roster. Donovan West, I think he's played pretty well this offseason in training camp, and he's kind of been impressive overall. I think he's going to get stashed to the practice squad. We got Donovan West. He's a guy that they'll stash. And then Nick Zakelj, the rookie guy that they drafted, the other O-lineman other than Spencer Burford. I like this guy, but I also think he makes the practice squad. I don't think he gets cut this week. I don't think Donovan West gets cut this week. But I think both of those two guys will stay on the team in the practice squad. So ultimately, those guys are future developmental pieces, Nick Zakelj and Donovan West. And then Sam Schluter, I don't think he makes the roster, but he might stick around this week. I know he was dealing with an injury, so Sam Schluter might stick around this week just for emergency purposes. Because again, they got to make it through one more game, so some of these guys may not get cut. But if I'm guessing right now, who's going to get cut on the O-line? Justin Skule is getting cut this week, and most likely, I think Keithan Sutherland. Those two guys would probably be my cut candidates on the O-line, and then Jordan Mills. But again, it depends on how healthy Jalen Moore is. So those guys could see some unfortunate cuts coming their way. Let's see what we got over here. People are arguing about Hasty over Sermon, Mason, Sermon. No, man. Hasty or not. See, this is the thing. Jermichael Hasty is fooling every single one of you guys. I told you. Jermichael Hasty is a sheep in wolves' clothing. He makes it look so good in the preseason. He's dominating the preseason, and he does it every year. Regular season, it's not going to be, what we expect. It's not what we expect in the regular season with Jermichael Hasty. But, he looks elusive this offseason. He's been playing good. You got to give him his credit. You got to give him his flowers. My man RG says Shanny loves Hasty. He does love. He loves Jamaica. He gives this man so many chances. He's a good receiving back. He's not bad. I just don't like him dancing. He dances around too much. Just stop the dancing. Man, people are not happy with Trey Sermon. Again, I don't think you just cut him. I don't think you cut him. Bay Area says, who's got the center spot? The center spot right now is Jake Brendel. He's your starting center, but your backup could be Jason Poe. Again, Jason Poe looks very good. If you've watched Jason Poe during training camp and in these last 2 games, he continues to make his name known. Jason Poe, man, he looks good. He can play center. He can play guard too, and I think he'll be more of your backup guard. But he can play center if you need to. The backup is probably going to be Dan Brunskill. Dan Brunskill, of course, he's dealing with the hamstring injury, but I think Dan Brunskill is a guy that can be your backup center. He's not the starter. But my guy, Jason Poe, is so versatile. This guy could play fullback. This man could play fullback. We've talked about Jason Poe playing fullback, man. It's crazy. I'm going to get back to some YouTube comments here. Do you think Jordan Mason makes the roster? My man, 49ers throwback. I think he does. Ultimately, again, this is a tough battle at running back. There's so much talent. If you cut any one of them, they're going to get stolen from someone else. And that's the thing with the Niners. They got a lot of talent. And sometimes it's unfortunate because you have to make a 53-man roster. It's unfortunate. It's a business. But I think if you cut Jordan Mason, he makes it to another team and we'll be good. He'll be good. Like I can see Seattle snag him up. He has Seattle Seahawks written all over him. I don't think you cut Jordan Mason. I don't think you cut Trey Sermon because you can at least get value out of him. I know everybody is dogging Trey Sermon. They are dogging Trey Sermon. But you can at least trade the guy. Don't cut him. 3rd-round pick. My man, John V, what's good, baby? LFG, let's go. TDP looks better than Sermon, says Jake Society. TDP looks legit, man. I want to tell you, man. He looks good. Kobe says, I knew it. Colton to right tackle surprised me. I'm going to be honest. I just don't see Colton as a fit at right tackle. That's just me. But, hey, I'm not Kyle Shanahan. That's why I'm not the head coach. He knows more than me. But Colton McKivitt's right tackle, good luck, Sally. Good luck, Sally. Jesus. Let it be known, says Hasty getting cut. That's what I predicted before preseason, but he's making it very difficult. And Kyle loves the man. A preseason warrior. He's a preseason warrior. He's the best preseason player of all time. Oh, man. I don't know. It's going to be tough. Kyle has flowers for Hasty, says Deb. Won't he ever learn it won't last? No, he won't. He loves Jermichael Hasty. I don't know. He gets fooled by the preseason performance. He gets fooled by it. Oh, man. Who's the number 3 receiver? Says T. Davis. That's still a battle, but Danny Gray's kind of climbing up the charts. Danny Gray continues to climb, and I know we've talked about this extensively with Smitty. The fact of the matter is this guy's going to be open a lot. He's going to continue to get opportunities because you got everybody else covered, and he just has to catch the damn ball, and he's going to be wide open half the time. So he could be that 3rd receiver. Jennings has just not been able to get that mental clarity he needs. There's a lot of pressure on Juwan Jennings, and he's been dropping passes. But I still think that Shanahan is going to trust Juwan Jennings and give him his opportunities until he starts consistently not making plays. It's still the preseason. I still think that right now Jennings is your third receiver, but that can change in a heartbeat. You got guys like Malik Turner, you have Ray McLeod, and Danny Gray climbing up this roster. I like Malik Turner, man. I'm not gonna lie. This guy, such a good, little underrated player, man. Malik Turner, he's been making plays, man, since training camp. Let's get to tight end because this is a spot that I think there could be a cut this week. Tight end is weird, man. Tight end is very weird. They used the tight ends a lot yesterday. They targeted the tight ends a lot, and I think Kyle's still trying to figure out who the hell is making this team at tight end, and I think that's why he's trying to figure out. Obviously, we know Kittle, best tight end in the league. He's going to be your tight end 1, but who's going to be behind him? Is it Charlie Warner? We know he blocks, and we need that blocking skill to take some pressure off of Kittle. You got Ross Dwelly. Dwelly, he has the talent, but I just don't know. I haven't seen him explode like I thought he would, being next to Kittle. You got that guy Tyler Kroft. You got some players there, but I think we might cut a tight end. Tanner Hudson, not bad. He had a pretty nice, solid game, except the drop. He did have a big drop. That was bad. A lot of drops yesterday. Tanner Hudson, Tyler Kroft, those two guys are in line to maybe not make the team, but I think Tyler Kroft is playing decent enough to stick around for one more week. Dwelly could be a surprise cut. I'm not even gonna lie. Ross Dwelly could be a surprise cut. Although I still think if it's 2 weeks from now, and we're talking about the final roster, I think George Kittle, Charlie Warner, and Ross Dwelly are your three tight ends. I still think those are your three tight ends, but it's not like I'm not like so confident about it because in the past I'm like, yeah, these are your tight ends. I'm not confident about it. Ross Dwelly hasn't proven me he belongs on a 53-man roster. Tyler Kroft, maybe. I don't know. Keep Kroft, Dwelly, Charlie, Ross the boss. I think he makes it, though. I do think he makes the final roster, but I don't know. I got mixed feelings on Ross Dwelly. John V says, Dwelly has great hands, but he blocks like a cardboard box. That's the thing. That's the problem. He's supposed to be a phenomenal catcher, but I don't know. He just doesn't do anything for me, and his blocking is not good. So it's like you're getting half a tight end in Kyle's system. In the Kyle system, you need a block. Then you got Charlie Warner, who's coming off, a core muscle injury, who blocks great, but he's not like the biggest receiving threat, although he has decent hands. I like Charlie Warner. I think Charlie Warner makes that final roster, but let's see. Oh, is Eric Davis? I didn't even notice because I paid attention to YouTube. Eric Davis is in. We got to go live with Eric. I've been waiting for this moment all week to get Eric Davis live. Oh my God, let's see if he's still here. Oh man, maybe he left. Maybe he left. If Eric Davis left, I just dropped the bag. Oh my God. Let's see. We got to get Eric Davis in here. Let me see if he's still here. If Eric Davis is here, we got to get we're about to get the answers. We're going to get some answers. Maybe. I fumbled, huh? I fumbled the bag because I was trying to do too many things at once. Unbelievable. Let's see. We're going to see if Eric Davis, is he gone? He was here. I didn't know he was here. I didn't know. Well, damn it. Next time, we got to get him. Oh, man. We just fumbled the bag. He's probably gone. We got to get him back next time. At least he showed his face around. Unbelievable. We fumbled the bag, man. We fumbled at the goal line. It was a goal line play, and we threw the ball instead of running it. Just like the Seahawks. Come on, man. He commented 2 times. I wasn't looking at the comments here. I was looking at the YouTube comments. I was doing too much multitask. We were multitasking. I pulled a Purdy. Granted, the Purdy fumble yesterday, they should have called defensive offside. Come on. That was ridiculous. I pulled a Brock Purdy, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. It's all good. We'll be back. He'll be back. We fumbled. We fumbled the bag. Unbelievable. What do I think about Drake Jackson? That guy's phenomenal, dude. That guy's so good. He's only going to get better. He's a rookie, and he's already had 2 solid starts, to his career. Not starts, but 2 solid games to his career. His tape was impressive. He was just disruptive in the run. He was disruptive getting to the quarterback. He had 4 defensive pressures. Him and Jordan Willis had the most defensive pressures on the defense yesterday. They both had 4. They were getting at it. And I was impressed with how he was defending the run. Drake Jackson's going to be a stud, man. Can you imagine when he figures it all out, gets himself in his peak position, and you got Nick Bosa and Drake Jackson. Scary hours. Russell Garcia. says Fred Warner came in at number 47 on the top 100. Yeah, I saw that. Posted about it. I was a little, what's the word? I'm disappointed. I was a little disappointed. I think Fred Warner should be higher than 47. It should be higher than 47. But it's just, at least we get the recognition. We still have Debo. We still have Kittle. We still have Bosa. And we still have Trent Williams that haven't made the top 100 yet. So if you really think about it, though, the Niners are going to be very well represented in the top 100. But it is very low. It is too low. 47, best wide receiver in the NFL. Come on, my guys. Come on. It's tough. You know what? The D-line, I want to tell you this. Let's move over to the D-line. Because this is a position, a roster position that is so deep. I think they keep about 10 to 11 D linemen. 10 to 11 D linemen. I don't know who you cut. This is probably the strongest group of the whole team. It's the deepest, obviously, and it's just so talented. You have Ebicam, Drake Jackson, Kerry Hyder, Kamoko Toure, Kinlaw, Givens, Akeem Spence, Kalia Davis, who's on, he's injured. He won't make the roster. You got Arik Armstead, Hassan Ridgeway, Kevin Atkins, Maurice Hurst, he's on the injured reserves, Nick Bosa, Charles Omenihu, Jordan Willis, and Alex Barrett. That's some talent, man. That is some talent. Who do you cut? You cannot cut Kevin Givens. He's a good rotational piece. Akeem Spence, probably, that's the guy that's expendable. You can cut Akeem Spence. He looked pretty decent in the preseason, but I think if you're going to cut someone this week, Akeem Spence might be the guy that's in jeopardy to get cut, unfortunately. Hassan Ridgeway, that was a guy they brought in this offseason from the Colts. He'll probably make the final roster. They maybe want to give him one more game. He's coming off an injury, so, he's not 100%, but he'll get one more chance to prove it next week against Houston on Thursday. So I think Hassan stays on the roster, and he gets one more shot to prove he stays on there. He's good enough to be on that final rotation. I think you cut Akeem Spence this week. And, I think Alex Barrett also has a chance to make this final roster. So this week against Houston, you got Ridgeway and Alex Barrett, two guys that are going to be jockeying for that final position on D-line if they want to keep 10 to 11 linemen. But I think Akeem Spence will be a guy that gets cut this week. No disrespect. I just think that he's not going to make the 53. So you got to cut a guy this week. That's the guy that gets cut, unfortunately. So that brings us to linebacker. I mean, come on. The Niners have the best linebacking group in the NFL. It's easy, right? Easy money. We got so much good linebackers. Greenlaw, Oren Burks. And Oren Burks, we talked about him last night. This man has been flying, absolutely flying everywhere. He's been good. He's definitely making this roster. And then you got Sigunu Lubi, who he was really good in training camp. I like this kid as a practice squatter. I think you drop him onto the practice squad. He could get cut this week, though. They got so many linebackers. You got Jeremiah Gemmel. You got Marcelino McCrary-Ball. Curtis Robinson, who's coming back. He had an injury. He's coming back this week. You got Azeez Al-Shahir and Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. So they got a lot of linebackers, but you got to cut somebody, I think ultimately Warner, Azeez, Greenlaw, Oren Burks, and Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles are your linebackers that make it. I like Marcelino. He's the future. I think he gets stashed to the practice squad. And I think Siguna Lubi also gets stashed to the practice squad. I think you're going to cut one of those two guys this week, though. I think Siguna Lubi might be the guy that gets cut this week. Again, it's nothing personal. It's not because I think he's played bad. It's the business. Somebody's got to get cut. You have to make 5 cuts this week. And I think that's who you got to cut. And then we'll go to safety. I want to take a couple questions. Maurice says, yo, Raj, would you compare Danny Gray to Marquise Goodwin? I mean, yeah, the speed. We've talked about it before. He could be like Marquise Goodwin, but let's hope he stays healthy. That was the problem with Marquise Goodwin. He couldn't stay healthy, and then he kind of had some hand issues. He had some catch issues. There's times where he's open and he didn't haul it in. And, C.J. Beathard, his quarterback at the time, he was able to throw a dart. So there's nothing. It wasn't because he had a shitty quarterback. CJ could throw some dots. I mean, CJ's not the greatest quarterback, but in terms of what Marquise Goodwin was able to do on the field, stretch the field, Marquise Goodwin was fast, and so was Danny Gray. Very similar because of the speed, Olympic speed. Danny Gray runs a 4.33. but I think he runs a little bit better routes than Marquise Goodwin. I've seen Danny Gray do a little bit more than just the deep routes. Not bad. Got to work. Got to make sure those hands are intact. But it is definitely a comparison for the Niners because Marquise Goodwin was that deep threat, and we've been searching for a solid deep threat. And Danny Gray could be that vertical downfield threat. Blazing speed. Brendan Murphy says, "Will Odom make the roster?" Perfect segue into this because we want to talk about safeties. My man Roll says the question should be, what has Sermon done to be able to make the roster? I mean, it's a very valid question. It's a very valid question, but he's a third-round pick. There's a lot of draft stock you put into him, and you can still squeeze something out of the guy. You cut him, somebody's going to pick him up, and maybe somebody can make him something that the Niners. He just doesn't fit the Niners scheme, so you trade him. I just don't think you trade away Trey Sermon, even if he is a bust. Yeah, at least you get something for him. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just throw him into the dumpster. Go to Goodwill. Try to get something for him. Get your tax return back. Go to the thrift store. Get something in return. Get something. Gotta get something. I don't know. 49er Dog says, hit that like button. Hit that like button, man. Hit that like button on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. Purdy looks, I like Purdy, man. He makes this roster. I know before the season started, before the preseason started, it was, are they going to keep 3 quarterbacks? I don't think you cut Brock Purdy, man. I like the kid. I like him. I don't want to stash him. I think if you cut him, he's another guy that somebody's going to claim. And that could be their backup quarterback who could become something someday. I think we keep Brock Purdy on the roster. But anyways, going to safety. Let's talk about Brendan says, will George Odom make the roster? I think so. George Odom looked good yesterday. He filled in for Jimmy Ward. He had the interception off the deflection. The pressure caused by Drake Jackson. Pressure from Drake Jackson. That guy was screaming all over the field. If you run the film, if you run the tape on Drake Jackson, he was in on everything almost. And the pressure that the defense created caused fits for the quarterbacks. I felt bad. Kellen Mond had the worst game of his life. God, dog. I mean, this D-line is impressive. They're going to give quarterbacks hell. We're going to get a lot of turnovers. This team's going to get a lot of turnovers. I'm going to tell you that. This secondary is going to be intercepting a lot of balls. I think this is a year where we're going to be one of the top teams in interception. It's going to be fun to watch. We're going to have a ton of interceptions. Because if you're a quarterback and you're scrap and you got Drake Jackson, you got to throw it up into pressure and get intercepted. It's going to be interception city. It's going to be fun to watch. But yeah, going on safety, George Odom, he makes this roster. Jimmy Ward, he's nursing the hamstring injury. We don't know if he's going to play week 1. You need somebody to come in if he's not playing, and I think George Odom's okay enough to play. Tarvarius Moore, another guy, he bounced back after a poor start on last Friday against the Green Bay Packers. He had a pretty good play. He showed his athleticism, made some nice plays on the ball. I think he makes it. Talanoa Hufanga, he makes it, and Jimmy Ward. Those are your 4 safeties that make the final roster. So Taylor Hawkins might get cut. I don't think he gets cut this week. I think they give him one more week. He looked okay. He made the interception at the end of the game. Shout out to Taylor Hawkins. Big interception at the end of the game. And then cornerback, obviously Mosley and Charvarius Ward are your top cornerbacks. They're both injured, but they're coming back soon. They're both getting healthier. Dante Johnson, the crusty veteran, I think he makes the roster. I know a lot of people don't like him. Diamador Lenore, man, this guy has turned heads quick. He's been nice this offseason. He had a good training camp, and he's followed it up with a very good offseason in the preseason games. Diamador was locked down last night. He was clamping it up, man. Shout out to Diamador Lenore. He led the Niners with an 86.1 coverage grade via PFF. So Diamador Lenore was making it tough on receiver. Granted, it was backups, I know, but still, he played fairly well yesterday. I liked the progression I've seen out of Lenore in his second year. He's really stepped up in his second year. So you've seen the development, and that's what you want to see out of these younger guys. My man Maurice says, Castro Fields looked a little weak with those tackles. Yeah, I think Castro Fields is a guy that just needs development. He's a year away. I think they're going to stash Castro Fields on the on the practice squad. I don't think Tariq Castro Fields makes the final roster, but I think they're going to stash him on the practice squad and they're going to let him develop. I mean, he was around the ball a lot. He just needs to get his strength up. He needs to work out and figure out the game a little bit more, get a little development. It's his first year in the NFL. He's a rookie. You can definitely see that he's a project in the making. But I like him. I think he has potential. That's a guy you stash on the practice squad. And then who else yesterday made some plays? Let's see. I think that was it. Oh, there was a question here about Jason Verrett. What's up, Aran? It's Boss Man. What's good, my man? Let's see. There was a question about Jason Verrett. Oh, Osvaldo says, anything on JV? Well, no, JV's still rehabbing. He's going through ACL recovery. He looked good in training camp. He was running and moving and doing some lateral movements. So he looks like he's getting there, but Shanahan said he's not going to rush him back. So I think Jason Verrett is still a few weeks away from returning. But they're optimistic, and that's good. Then we have, let's see, any word on Gibson? Oh, yeah, Gibson, the tryout. They tried out Gibson, a veteran safety, a couple days ago, but there hasn't been any word on if they're signing him or not. They worked them out, and I think they're just making sure. I think what the case is with that is if there's, a bigger injury to Jimmy Ward than expected, they might bring in Gibson. Or they do have cuts this week, right? They got some roster cuts. Maybe they're just waiting to cut somebody to bring him in. So it could be one of those type things. So I haven't heard anything about how his workout went, but that's something we definitely have to keep an eye on this week. That's a good question. So Gibson, safety, looking into him. They worked him out this week per Field Yates earlier in the week, but haven't heard anything other than that. So. Cup of Joe says, our interior offensive line is scaring me. Again, it's our backups that we're in. I think you got to look at it this way. There's certain players that are doing their job. Like Spencer Burford had a good night last night. He had one pressure allowed. He only allowed one pressure last night, and he had a very solid game. Aaron Banks, it wasn't his best game, but he didn't play horribly. He did allow 2 pressures. You got backup guy Jason Poe looked good yesterday. So center has been a position where we're like, oh man, it's in limbo. So the backup centers, they don't look good, right? Hopefully Jake Brendel doesn't look like our backup center. And then some of those other guys aren't going to make the roster. They're just backups that, again, need to be playing because it's preseason. But I think once our season starts and our starters are in there, I think Burford and Banks specifically, those are the keys. And I think Shanahan's letting them play as much as they can to get as much, experience as they can in development until the week 1 starts. Because when week 1 comes, they're not going to be playing preseason anymore. It's not against backups. So Spencer Burford and Aaron Banks are getting as many reps as they need to be ready for week 1. So I think those two will be okay. I'm just still a little worried about center. I don't know how good Jake Brendel is going to be. I'm going to be honest with you. He's a career backup center. So if he's good, man, then more power to him, I'm more worried about right tackle. I am not worried about the interior as much as I'm worried about right tackle. Because Mike McGlinchey is dealing with the knee issues. And we've talked about this a lot. He's got the knee issues. He's coming off a torn quad, and he's already got knee irritation. And they have Colton McKivitz right now slated as the swing tackle. I don't know about that. I don't like Colton McKivitz at right tackle. I'm just going to tell you right now. Oh, man. 4 cases. Alex Mack should just come back for 1 more year. You know what? I thought about that, but then next year he'll retire next year, and we're going to be back to the drawing board. So I think they got to figure out what they need to do at center. And that's what the Niners do. They always let go of a guy, and they try to patch it up with some duct tape on a guy that they think is going to do well. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I don't know. We're going to find out if Jake Brendel can be good at center. But if he's not, we know what we're drafting next year, right? So, man. What's up, Mariah? What's up, 49ers Rod? She says Daniel Jones is trash. I could have told you that. Quick release. do we bring someone in at the right tackle position? At this point in the game, no. I mean, they brought in Jordan Mills. He's kind of a mixed bag right now. And you have Colton McKivitz. And they had Justin Skule, but Justin Skule, he gone. He gone. Hold up. I'm getting a call. This is Justin. Is this Justin Skule? Oh, hi. How's it going? What's up, buddy? Yeah, Kyle told me to call you. I was texting you earlier. You might want to pack your bags, buddy. I think you might be heading out of the locker this week. All right, man. You have a good day. I'm sorry, man, but somebody's got to go. All right, enjoy, buddy. I hate to make that. I can't believe Kyle made me make that call. Fucking Kyle. 49ers Raj says, Poe making the 53. I think so. He gone. He gone. He's definitely gone. Unfortunate for him. The 1980s car phone. You remember those phones? Them big ass Zach Morris Saved by the Bell phone. Remember that? That big old phone that I used to have one of those. I used to think it was the coolest thing in the world. The big Zach Morris Saved by the Bell. But yeah, no, I mean, that's pretty much. So roster cuts this Tuesday. I kind of gave you some of the people I think that was going to get cut this week. What's the latest word on Jimmy G? I don't know. You tell me. It's a rumor every day. Every day is another story with Jimmy G. Who the hell knows what's going on with Jimmy G? I think he gets cut. August 30th, Jimmy Garoppolo, breaking news, has been cut from the 49ers. That is my prediction. Learn says Wilson is gone. Wilson will not be cut from this roster. He'll be traded before he gets cut. There's no way to get rid of Jeff Wilson Jr. Yeah, I don't think Mason passes waivers if they call him. The new live segment. Who gets the call? You know what? We should let's make on Tuesday or Monday, tomorrow or Tuesday. Whoever gets cut, I'm gonna give them the call. We're gonna give them the call. I'm gonna give them a call, and we're gonna tell them they got cut from the 49ers. I think that's what we're gonna do this week. We're going to do the little call. Yo, Justin Skule. I'm going to practice. Justin Skule, you've just been released by the San Francisco 49ers. No, this is not Kyle Shanahan. This is his assistant. I'm doing his dirty work. Yep. It's called Raj Breaks Bad News to the Niners. Yeah, bad news. You got cut. That's what's going to happen. We're going to do it. We're going to call Jimmy eventually. Jimmy on speed dial. I got Jimmy on speed dial. We're going to do it. We're going to do it this week. My phone is bigger than me. This phone is bigger than my fucking life, man. Who gets the call this week? Oh, man. Who gets the call this week? Who's getting fucking toxic? You're right. Oh, it's bad. That's bad. It's good, though. It's good TV. Good TV. Oh, man. Senior high. Lynch might. This is genius, actually, because then I can do the dirty work for. I don't care. If he wants to call me to be the dirty guy, like to call them, like, yo, the Niners just cut you. They can get mad at me. They can cuss me out. But I'd be working for Yo, John Lynch, if you're listening, I will be happy to do your dirty work for you. I'll call Jimmy Garoppolo for you. I'll call whoever you need me to call, and we'll release them. Don't even worry about it. That would be fun, huh? Arun Singh says Jimmy Garoppolo is not getting cut. Oh, come on, my guy. He's getting cut. Come on. I don't know. I think he's getting cut. Although Jed York did say, and he said it many times, they'd be okay with keeping Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster at his current salary. I know they've said it many times. I just don't see it. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. You could be right. We could be right. You just getting here late. It's all good. Better late than never. You can go watch the replay on YouTube. So, tell me a little bit about the O-line, please. In a nutshell, Justin Skule probably getting cut. Jordan Mills didn't perform as good as I thought. Kiefer Sutherland, he's back up. Probably get cut. Burford Banks, starting lineman on the interior. They've been getting a lot of reps. Burford had a great game last night. And Jason Poe, another guy, had a great night. Undrafted gem. Russell Garcia says he doesn't even have a playbook and has been excused from training camp. And that's a good point with Jimmy Garoppolo. He has no playbook. He doesn't go to team meetings, and he didn't even practice with the team on training camp. Granted, he was rehabbing and doing his shoulder stuff, but I was there. And one time I was in the VIP section, and there was the players. They're doing their thing. Jimmy's all alone, isolated. I mean, he didn't even look at another player. He wasn't even talking to it, doing his own thing in the back, like a whole separate field. There's a separate field Jimmy was on. He doesn't even have a playbook. He doesn't even go to the team meetings. Tell me you're not on the team without telling me you're not on the team. That's what I think. Tell me you're not on the team without telling me you're on the team. And that's what I think happened to Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not on the team. He's on the team, but he's not on the team. He looked like a prisoner, says John. I mean, that's a good way to put it. My man says, I'm at Pizza California, and Debo is here with overtime IG people. You know that? I believe it because I saw in the story he was with the guy with the overtime T-shirt, probably filming something. Tell him I said what's up. Home Alone, Jimmy. Sharia says Nate Sudfeld has been a pleasant surprise this preseason. I like Nate Sudfeld. He's a good backup. We got a good QB room this year. You can't hate. You got Trey, my boy. You got Nate Sudfeld, and you got Brock Purdy. It's a pretty nice QB room. Sudfeld hasn't been horrible. I mean, he hasn't been elite, but he hasn't been horrible. Senior says Purdy might not be great, but for some reason, I like him. I think he'll develop. And that's what I think the vibe that most people like. Like, I think people like Brock Purdy because he gets the ball. Like, the ball's moving. The team moves on offense. I'm not going to say nothing, but we've seen too many times where the offense stalls. If the receivers didn't drop those passes yesterday, I think Purdy has a very, very great night last night. Like he didn't have beautiful stats, but you got to remember there's 4 drops. I think Purdy has come in and he's looked pretty nice. What do I think the walkout song will be this year? I don't know. It's whatever the players are feeling. Whatever Trent Williams and Debo want. Yo, ask him. Whoever's at California Kitchen, ask Debo what the walkout song will be. Back-to-back games, 2-minute drives with points scored, says Senior. And that was what I was talking about last night is the reason I really liked Purdy yesterday, and he did it last week too, you're absolutely right, it was a 2-minute drill. They moved the ball. They got a 2-minute drill. Granted, it wasn't a touchdown. It wasn't a touchdown. He should have had a touchdown in the corner with my boy Danny Gray. Beautiful catch, but it just didn't stay in bounds. But the fact he got that ball moving, 2-minute drill is one of the hardest, offenses to run, and he did it. I know it's backups, but this is the second game in the NFL. Moved the ball very effectively, and they got a score. And he did it the week ago against Green Bay. So I like what I've seen out of Purdy. He is definitely looking pretty good. Do I think Trey will be a captain this year? Not this year. That's a good question, SF Flood. I don't think this year. Because you got a lot of veterans on this team, and they deserve to be the captain before Trey. I think Trey will. I don't think he gets the captain badge this year. Not just yet. Not yet. Kyle's going to let him earn it. You got Jimmy Ward. You got Fred Warner, Trent Williams, Kyle Juszczyk, Robbie Gould, Arik Armstead. Those guys are your captain. George Kittle. Debo maybe. Nick Bosa maybe. Those guys are entering their prime of their careers, and they're leaders of this team. Those guys I think are captains. When I think of the Niners and their captains, that's who I think. I don't think Trey Lance is a captain just yet. So. Anyways, that's it. That's it for today. I hope everybody has a good rest of your Sunday. It's Victory Sunday, man. Let's go, baby. Been feeling great. Feeling great. My man Kagon says, I think Purdy is better than Mullins. Not a bold take. I like it. I mean, guess we still need to see what he does in a regular season, but I think he has potential to be better than Nick Mullins. I remember when everybody wanted Nick Mullins as QB1. We'll talk about that next show. My man, Raphael, thank you. House of the Dragon tonight. John V, what's good? Appreciate you. Victory Sunday, Victory Tacos with Burford. We got to get some Victory Tacos. We need to. Anyways, y'all have a good night. I love you. Appreciate you. Bang, bang. Renegade. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the YouTube.